What's going on, everybody? Richie here, Hybrid Athletics. I want to talk about something very important today. It has to do with FAI, or femoral acetabulum impingement. This is something that I was diagnosed with. I was told by my physician that I would require surgery to deal with it. I opted to not go with his advice, to do my own independent research. I decided to not go with the surgery after finding that some other people had success trying physical therapy treatment prior to undergoing the surgery. So the way I looked at it, I was like, if I get the surgery, I'm gonna be out a certain amount of time, and then I'm gonna have to go through physical therapy as well. Why not see if I can go through the physical therapy first, see if that helps to clear up some of the symptoms, and if not, the surgery is always another option. So the reason why I want to share my story is because, well, first of all, I've been getting a lot of people that have been hitting me up about it on some of my stretch videos that I did a while back, and I've been coming across more and more people who are dealing with it. So I want to give my perspective. I'm not saying that this is the only option, the 100% correct option. As with anything else in life, I'm sure it's a case-by-case basis, and there's going to be better options for every individual. But just my story, diagnosed with it and a labral tear as well. Didn't undergo the surgery. Spent a lot of time, first of all, losing weight and working on my flexibility and mobility. So I stopped lifting weights entirely. I was 250 pounds. Many of you have seen my transformation video, and I've recently done an update on that. So if you haven't checked that out, go check it out after this. But yeah, I lost 70 pounds over the course of 9 months, where I really focused on cardio and diet. The hip pain was really bad. It was hurting every time I would play basketball. I'll cut and make certain moves. I'd feel a very sharp pain. It would subside after a while, but then there would be a dull, lingering pain afterwards. So I had to find something that wouldn't aggravate it as much. I decided to do boxing and not really pivot too much on the hip when I was throwing my punches. More just, really focusing on getting my heart rate up instead of actually throwing full power punches that were coming from the hip. So I did that. I did yoga to focus on my flexibility and mobility. That was a huge part. After 9 months, I had finally developed some semblance of flexibility. I'm like the least flexible person you've ever met. I actually think that the hip impingement stems from a leg length discrepancy that has caused chronic tightness. I've always been very unflexible, so not sure if there's a correlation there, but I feel like there most likely is. So I wind up getting some sort of flexibility, some sort of mobility, and when I really started looking at my form, I realized that I had never been able to really squat properly. I did a lot of the heavy lifting. Most of the heavy lifting I was doing, it was my lower back that was taking the brunt of the force, and I have scar tissue all on the inside of my QL, my quadratus lumborum, from that. This actually feels really good. Might need a foam roll now, honestly. That's how I sort of got into the bodyweight training. So working on the flexibility, mobility, and having an injury, my lower back. Oh yeah, I had a bad injury in my lower back from squatting. Go figure. So I get this bad injury in my lower back, my QL, from squatting, and that's actually what led me to take some time off from the weights. And after having the pain for a month, non-stop sharp pain, finally it started clearing up a little bit, but it was still lingering. Then I started getting the sharp pain in my hip when I was playing basketball after that. That's what caused me to go get the MRI. That's what revealed the hip impingement. One interesting thing was a video that I came across describing the hip impingement. If you have it, you know that it's a bone spur that develops. I'll leave a link to the video because it'll probably describe it a little bit better than I will right now. But just a very rudimentary recreation. Let's say this is your femur, right? This is your hip, ball and socket joint. So it's supposed to fit in here, nice and snug, rotate around within the joint capsule. When you have a hip impingement, it sort of sits off to the side. And so over time, it keeps going into that bone, and then what happens is it eventually creates a bone spur that pokes out to stop it from sitting outside of the socket. So the way this one doctor describes it is, if your body created this bone spur to prevent it from coming out of the socket, what's the point of shaving it down to have it fit back in? And that really, kind of rang a bell with me. And also, I'm very skeptical of anything that involves someone making money. And when you think about how surgeons make money, they gotta do surgery. So I'm always very skeptical. Not everybody's a good person. Not everybody's gonna have your best interest in mind. Doctors prescribe drugs all the time that they know are not the best option for their patients, but they get a bonus for prescribing, so they're trying to get paid. They don't always care. I'm not saying everybody, but they're out there. If you think they're not, you're very naive. So yeah, I was very skeptical. That's what caused me to seek an alternative method of healing myself. Here I am now. This is almost 3 years later, maybe 2.5, 3 years later. Haven't got the surgery. I've activated my glutes. They were never active. I've done a lot of work to activate all the muscles, all the weak muscles in the hip area to take some of the strain away. And I've also done a lot of work in loosening up some of these chronically tight muscles. For those of you who don't know, when you have an extremely tight group of muscles, it will cause the opposing group of muscles to become inactive or dormant. For me, I have chronically tight hip flexors, and a lot of people do from sitting all the time. And this made my glutes inactive, right? They were dormant, so my glutes were never active. They're supposed to be the biggest, strongest muscles in our body, and mine's were not doing anything. This doesn't help. This doesn't help when you're trying to squat and then you have the hip impingement and your glutes aren't working and people wonder why they have lower back pain. As far as right now, I still have hip pain, but I'm also at the point in my life where I'm like, this is gonna sound very Buddhist, but life is suffering, right? We're born into the world crying and in pain. The way we learn things is from bumping our head. I literally can't look back in my life and think of a time where I wasn't in some sort of pain in one way or another. I'm sort of at the point where I'm just like, I'm always going to be in some sort of pain. Can I work around it? Can I deal with it? Can I do moves that seem to not aggravate the pain as much? And if I can, then I do those. So yeah, I still deal with some hip pain. I still stretch, try to stretch daily. I try to do mobility at least 3 times a week. It seems to be working. I can definitely squat lower and with better form than I ever have. Still don't go too heavy, lifting on back squats, things like that. I prefer to go lighter with greater range of motion on things like front rack kettlebell squats. Lunges don't seem to aggravate my hip at all. Kettlebell swing, sometimes you just gotta work around it. I've had people say they've had surgery, they said they feel better from it. I've had people that say they had surgery, now the other hip's acting up. I've had people say they had surgery, and it's worse. So that's just a thing where it's gonna come down to you weighing the risks and rewards for yourself to make the best decision for yourself and your given circumstances. Just wanted to share my story, let you know what's going on with me, just to show you that maybe you don't absolutely need surgery just because someone's telling you. Maybe you do. I really don't know. The way I look at it, if I need surgery, I'm gonna literally need it. Like, I won't be able to walk. That's when I look like, okay, I need surgery because I my leg's not working or something like that. Just me personally. I didn't get surgery. I'm in the best shape of my life. I have a 41-inch running vertical. I'm doing vertical programs. I'm squatting. I think I'm an above average athlete. My legs are a weak point. They could use a lot more work, but trying to reverse 2+ decades of bad habits and bad motor recruitment patterns just woke my glutes up 2 years ago. So, I feel like I got a lot of catching up to do in that regard. So I just wanted to share that story with you. I hoped that this video helped you if you happen to be going through something like that. If it did, go ahead, leave me a like, and don't forget to subscribe because I'm going to be doing a lot more on the topic coming up soon, plus a lot of other cool stuff that I talk about on a regular basis. If you have any questions or comments, leave in the box below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, richie.vi, and share this video with somebody who might be suffering from FAI or has some questions about it. Send them my way and I'd be happy to talk to them about it. Alright, until next time, it's Richie with Hybrid Athletics, training for life.